Thank you All Volleyball for sponsoring this video.
Let's move on to a little bit of first tempo here in the middle of the court.
Yeah.
The ball is in the middle of the court. Again, it really depends on the capabilities and the personnel that you have. So what are some different sets that you guys run with your teams?
Traditional 1 push 3. I would say those are the 3. Bic is kind of, it's like so much variation based on the hitter that there's no consistent rhythm, because it's like, this person needs it here or there, but those are the 3 probably the most consistent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, with our team this year, we had like a very strict system on. We played this system called gap control, and so it's wherever the setter, myself, was, you get to the nearest gap from there. As soon as setter crosses, we call this the timeline, the middle of the court. As soon as they get there or past it, they're on a shoot call. And then if they this part of the court, then I'm running first tempo here or a push.
So the middle has to call it, because if it's push here, you don't spot set, they follow you?
I set to the gap.
Okay.
So if I go back, I find them in the gap here.
Okay.
It's a little bit of like feeling, understanding, and just like connection thing. Yeah. Like it's like a wide receiver and quarterback. It's like those routes that are ran just based on time and steps. Like you just got to be able to feel it and know where he's going to be at. And so that's kind of like the system that we ran. And the Bic's job was always to be on the heels of and jumping off the heels in the middle, and then you jump out. So that way, as a setter, I always know every single time exactly the distance that I need to set. But for here, we're gonna keep it simple with front court stuff. We're gonna go first tempo balls. Gage is gonna be a target here. Again, for me, first tempo, I want to meet it at a high point and play it, and I want that distance and the time between contact and the hit to be as short as possible.
Okay.
Boom, nice. Good. Nice. I have a question for you, actually. I noticed when you set, you're in a very loaded position. Is that something for you that you've been trained to do, or is that something that you have adopted over time?
I think maybe subconsciously that's how I train my setters, is to always prep for a jump set.
Okay.
And then to get square under the ball before I jump.
Okay.
Maybe that's just a short person's adaptation.
No, the thing is, like I talked about, is creating tension in the body, and that way you have that like neutral position. Working with setters too, like how you teach that and stuff. But no, it's really interesting. I like that. Like,
yeah,
I see the tension.
When I think about my setters, I always tell them like hips, knees loaded, because the worst thing you do is cut off all your power, right? Like locking out knees or elbows. Like you can probably set someone right next to you, but you just have no other option. Okay. And then in case I need to move and make that last minute adjustment, then it gives me, anytime my joints are bent, I feel like you can make better adjustments.
Okay, awesome. Nice. Again, getting it out of your hands as fast as possible. Like Coach Johnny's doing a nice job here. It's really important for middles. Because as a middle, the last thing you want, again, you have big guys, big middles in the court. The last thing I want to do as a middle is be looking down as my setter's kind of like holding the ball. Because as soon as you like hold the ball a little bit, the first thing the middle's eyes do is go down. And so they lose track of the block and they lose track of like where they are. I want to make my hands nice and high, playing it fast to them so they can keep their eyes up and see where that block is. Nice. Oh, that's not a great toss. My bad. Good. Nice. You notice there too, I gave a little bit lower toss. I see a lot of younger setters, what they do is first thing they like to do is go to the platform. And I'm like, I'm really big, you get our hands on the ball. Yeah. Get our hands on we're setters, so we gotta set the ball. So Coach Donny, he got a little lower under the ball, made a nice athletic play. Gage could bounce these balls. Even Gage could bounce these balls. Good, nice high release. Okay, let's go to a little bit of you call it a 3 ball or a shoot?
A shoot or a 3.
Shoot 3, whatever you guys call this ball in the gap here. Let's take a look at this. Again, what's really important is I always want to give my hitter the ability to spike anywhere they can. And like I said, it really depends on like personnel, what their tendencies are and everything. And so if I have a hitter that likes to spike back, wrist away a lot, make sure you give that availability to them on your set. Don't try to limit them. As a middle blocker or middle attacker, whatever you call it, I want to make sure that I have every angle possible, because if I have help coming in from the right side, if the middle is on me on a commit, I need to be able to spike everywhere. So as a setter, we want to give them all those options. Finishing high, it's not always super necessary to play super like flat and fast. Again, it really depends on the middle. Like maybe you lob it, if the middle is struggling to contact the ball a lot, then slow it down a little bit, because for me, it's more important for them to be spiking the ball than kind of like how fast we're playing.
Are you looking to buy some new volleyball gear? Then I highly recommend shopping at All Volleyball, where you can buy everything volleyball related, from balls, shorts, training equipment, coaching equipment, and much more. They also have the widest and latest selection of volleyball shoes, customizable team jerseys, and amazing customer service. Use my discount code and link below to get 10% off your entire purchase, and all orders over $100 receive free shipping. So get your volleyball gear today.
Nice. Again, we're looking for that consistent height on the ball, consistent shape in the shoot zone. Good. Good. Nice. Good, nice. Again, really like the release coming from Coach Donny here. Nice and fast, out of the hands quick. You can hear it. Good, squaring up. Good. Pull them off a little bit. Good. Coaches and players too, in these drills, I think it's really important that you, like, I always say, create stress for your player, because first thing that we see happen is when a setter comes off or a setter's in a difficult position, the first thing they want to do is hold the ball a little longer. Their body's not in tension, they're kind of in weird positions. We talk about in weight training, or we talk about in other aspects, like no matter what position we are or what place we are on the court, we need to be able to create tension on our body. Again, to the best of our ability. There's some plays where it's almost impossible. So being able to move, get stopped, and be in that neutral position and get the ball out fast, not holding that ball from anywhere on the court, is important. We'll pull them off. Good. Boom. Good. You see that tension in the body? Boom. Nice. Out fast. Nice quick footwork. Again, setters, footwork, footwork, footwork. Setters can't only be the most good-looking guys on the court. They have to also be the quickest. Here we go. Nice. Nice. The hands fast. Right? Good. And again, a couple last notes. Anybody, if you're talking tactically and stuff with these two plays, again, you have that big attack with that first tempo. What you see happen a lot on a lot of high-level international play right now with the shoot play, or the pop and float system, for those who are familiar with that, is with this open gap, you see what people call a grind, or like an on you or something. You're seeing really fast plays from the back row player on top of the setter. There's a bunch of different options tactically of what you can do with this as a setter, but again, for me, Johnny, like I really like the release and everything. Everything looked pretty sharp, and I think it was a really good example. And what it should look like, again, if we were to take a picture, it should look the same no matter where we are setting on the court.
Man, thanks so much.
Nice job.
Definitely got a couple of gold nuggets from there. I think one thing that was fascinating to me is I always wonder what setters are thinking when it's high left. And I know there's two systems. Like maybe in the mirror, it's like high as possible, so you can just go OT. But I think in general, it seems like setters like to accelerate their hitters. Like let your hitter hit his best ball, regardless of 2 or 3 versus location or something else. Is that kind of the general direction? Yeah,
the location. So I've gone through different coaching staffs and stuff with different beliefs. At Hawaii with our Serbian assistant, Milan Zarkovic, he was really big. He's like, when you play with speed to the pins and stuff, if the ball is here or there, he didn't care so much. He's like, the hitter needs to be fast with the hand and beat the block. He always talked about beating the rhythm of the block, is what he always talked about. Right before they can get over, right before because if you watch a game of volleyball, like you can see all together when the block gets fully formed together and over. It's like, and that's like a really difficult situation to spike past. So he always talked about beat the rhythm of the block. So with your wrist, with your arm, like work so much on that. And so, like he talked about, as a setter, like he didn't care. Maybe it was a little longer or a little bit off the net, but the hitter needs to be able to solve that because there's a gap there. They need to find that. They need a little bit of speed sometimes with the set to be able to create situations. I played with a lot of lefties now, and so like I was talking about, I was like, it wasn't so much important that I pushed the ball out to the pin as it was that I played with a little bit of speed to give them that seam to be able to find.
That's really good to know. Rhythm, I think that's my takeaway of like understanding. That is the key principle, regardless of who you're setting, is how can I maintain, how can I find the rhythm and get them in their rhythm. So that's really good to know. So thanks so much, Joe, for giving me some great feedback and some insight into professional setting and like what to focus on, especially for our fans out there that want to play pro or want to just start playing volleyball. I think a lot of the principles are very similar. They just look a little different at different levels. So if you want to follow Out of System, you want to tell them where they can find you?
Yeah, we're on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Out of System. We're on all those platforms. If you want to see Gage pass balls with his butt, that's the biggest, or Gritty, come on over. We'll be having some content with you yourself. Coach Donny, Elevate Yourself, will be on that platform as well. But thank you for having me. It was awesome.
Thanks so much.
Thank you guys.